Don Young Farm, August 8th, 2010, for the Antique Plowing event, south of Elburn. First tractor in line is owned by Bob Pondelax, a 1941H, pulling a two-bottom plow. Next tractor we got, the 1959 John Deere 730 diesel, owned by Les Kleckner. We have Dave and Elizabeth Kleckner in the operator's seat. Next tractor coming is a 1945 Farmall H, owned by Bob Klock, and it's being driven by Bob Klock. Behind Bob is a 1954 IH Super MTA, owned and driven by John Rue. Next in line is a 1940 Model M International, owned by Joe White, being driven by Ryan White. Got a three-bottom Oliver plow behind. Next in line is a 1949 Case SC, owned by Bob White, driven by Jason White. Next, 1959 International 560 Diesel, owned by Denny Hawk, driven by Denny Hawk. Trent Pearson has got the next tractor, the 1954 International Super MTA, owned and operated by Trent Pearson. Next in line, the 1955 John Deere Model 70 Diesel, owned by Bill Hansen, being driven by by Wayne Butts. Chester Morris is coming up with his 1942 International M. Chester's driving it. Next tractor in line is owned by Mark Gavin, operated by Mark Gavin. It's a 1951 John Deere Model G. Behind Mark's G, he has his 1959 730 diesel, being driven by his son David. Bob White's coming up with a model John Deere B. It's a 1950. Bob is driving the tractor. Doug Kuiper is driving a 1954 John Deere 60. It's owned by the Ed Lure family. It's been in that family for since it was new. Doug is the grandson of the original owner of the tractor. Behind Doug is a 1955 Massey Harris 44 Special, owned by Les Kleckner, being driven by Dirch Nordine. Coming up is a 1954 Farmall Super MTA, owned and operated by Kent Kleckner. Behind Kent is a 1942 Farmall H, being driven by Steve Hauser, owned by Steve Hauser. owned by Harry and Bob Schroger, being driven by Bob Schroger. It's a 1956 Super 88. The last tractor we have in line is a 1953 Massey Harris 44 Special, owned and operated by Bill Hansen.